So today's video is going to be educational and actionable because I really have a concern for the solopreneur and the small business entrepreneur when it comes to their bookkeeping. Now, the reason why bookkeeping is so important is because if you're a solopreneur, that means you might work a job, have a side hustle, you might be a network marketer, self-employed, freelancing, or maybe you have an LLC or a couple LLCs and you're making money, but you're not tracking your income and expenses. You're not operating as a legitimate business when it comes to the financial accounting, and it's going to hurt you in so many ways. So here's where I'm going to begin. This is where the educational part comes in at, and then we'll go to the actionable part. So educationally speaking, what is bookkeeping? Now, first of all, I'm not a bookkeeper, okay? I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an investor, I'm a private equity fund manager, and I've worked with tax strategists, I've worked with CPAs for almost 2 decades. I have some amazing relationships with these professionals, and I've learned a lot of the ins and outs. It still does not certify me, okay? But it does qualify me to have this conversation with my fellow entrepreneurs because I've consulted so many solopreneurs, so many small business owners, so many real estate investors, so many business buyers, so many individuals who are out here hustling and grinding and working so hard every day to make money, to build businesses, and they don't even have the basic bookkeeping system set up. It's crazy, and it's a concern for me. So what is bookkeeping? I want to simplify it from an entrepreneurial perspective. Bookkeeping is a system that you are implementing in your business to track the financial activities in your business operation. So that includes categorizing your transactions for income, for expenses, for equity, for accounts receivables, whatever the things are that's going on, properly categorizing those transactions. You're also reconciling those transactions in a system so that when you as a business owner want a report of your profit and losses, when you want a report of your assets, liabilities, and net worth, when you want a report to determine where you are in terms of available cash, all of that is in a system that houses your financial data. That's bookkeeping. Now, here's the thing that I want you to understand. Because even if you have a bookkeeper, okay? Okay, so let's say this is a bookkeeper. This is going to be an individual that you have in-house, whether it's you, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a child, a friend, whether it's a virtual assistant or a full-time staff member that you hire specifically for that. At some point, if you're going to track your financial activities, if you're going to make sure that your income and expenses transactions are categorized and reconciled and you have access to reports, you're going to have bookkeeping, and someone is going to have to assume the role of a bookkeeper. It's inevitable. It's not optional. It's not optional. And the more of a professional service you provide to the marketplace, the more it is inevitable for you to have it. It is a demand for you to have it. Whether you are a professional service provider in certain industries, it should be mandatory. So my point is, the bookkeeper is the person who's doing all the things that we just mentioned. Now, this is going to be in-house or it's going to be outsourced, one of the two. Now, we have a bookkeeping solutions company, RP Business Solutions, which in the link you'll see, in the description rather, you'll see the link. You could click it. We'll be more than happy to conduct a strategy call with you to give you some direction on what steps you need to take. But for either way, you need a bookkeeper. You're going to be the bookkeeper, your spouse, somebody you pull in, or you're going to hire and pay somebody to do it, virtually or in person, one way or another. Most solopreneurs and small business owners cannot afford a full-time bookkeeper. They cannot afford to pay for someone to show up every day just to do their bookkeeping. This is why solutions and services like what we offer is more advantageous for you, because we have packages that start at, let's say, $299 a month. So this could be a problem you solve for $299 a month. Of course, that depends on how many transactions you have, how many entities, and how many accounts that you need set up. But let's just say, hypothetically, you are a solopreneur, you got a small business, you're making a little money, you don't have time for none of this. You want a peace of mind. You don't want to be stressed about the IRS coming and knocking on your door, auditing your business. You don't want to deal with those problems. You don't want that smoke, right? Well, guess what? For $299, and you could do your due diligence, do some research and see what other bookkeepers charge. Okay, now that's one part of it. The next part is CPA. At some point, you're going to need a CPA, a certified public accountant, something that I'm not. You're going to need somebody to do your taxes based on all the books that you're keeping. You got to pay your taxes. You at least have to file your taxes, even if you don't have taxes to pay. You need to file your taxes every year as an individual, as a business owner. And again, the more of a professional service you offer, the more it should be important. My wife and I, we are investors. We have a private equity firm. We consult people. We do all these things. My wife is a licensed real estate agent. We pastor a church. We don't have time to be over here operating these business entities and not filing taxes. Now, the difference between most bookkeepers and what we do in our company is really about this part in between. It's about this part in between. So I have a CPA that we pay on a retainer. It's on an ongoing basis. You have to pay a CPA. My CPA happens to be a tax strategist where they help my companies lower the tax liability, do forecasting, all the things that a certified public accountant can do, but a lot of them don't do. A lot of them are not tax strategists. And again, all you have to do is your research. You'll see that a lot of CPAs are just going to do your taxes. They're going to file the taxes based on the documents that you give them. Now, if you have QuickBooks, let's say, for example, the CPA could get access to your QuickBooks. They can make sure everything looks clean. They could do your taxes. But this stuff in between, okay, from the time you start doing business day one and the time you go to the CPA for all of what you did that year, that process is going to require certain strategies to minimize your tax liability, to maximize your deductions. And most of the times, the bookkeepers, they don't know what to tell you. And again, CPAs, they're not just doing your job. You know how many clients I've talked to just with our bookkeeping company who have told us, I went to my CPA last year or the last 5 years and they did my taxes and they told me I had this big tax bill and I thought they was going to fix this and do that. And the CPA told them, like, yeah, I don't work for you. I'm not your bookkeeper. I'm not necessarily your tax strategist. I'm not the person who's looking at your transactions on a day-to-day. So again, even though we are not CPAs, even though we don't claim to be CPAs or tax strategists, but again, we have an extensive history of experience working with our own and having relationships with others that we're able to offer bookkeeping services, as I like to say, on steroids. Because with our bookkeeping services, not only are we going to make sure that everything is properly categorized, we're going to make sure everything is reconciled, we're going to send reports, but we want to fill in this space here by making sure you have all the information you need to know what deductions are available, what things we have done in our portfolio of businesses that have tremendously minimized our taxes, maximized our deductions. We also show you creative ways to forecast into the future to create revenue strategies. And we drop in at different junctures to make sure that if there are issues that you don't see, we can look at your report and see. So it's bookkeeping on steroids. It's not CPA work. It's not tax strategy work, because those are designations that you need to be certified for. So you still need a CPA, no matter who's doing your bookkeeping, unless a CPA is doing your bookkeeping. But you want to have a bookkeeper who is at least aware of how this part needs to be filled in, and how to incrementally check those activities to make sure that things are going the way they need to go, so that you don't wait until you get into the next year, go to your CPA, only to realize all this time during that calendar year, there's so many things you could have done to eliminate that big burden of a tax liability and have the peace of mind. So again, this is just my take. This is what we do in our bookkeeping solutions company, and it is a result of almost 20 years of working with some of the best tax strategists and CPAs here in Buckhead and Metro Atlanta, and many of whom we still have relationships with, to make sure that whatever the services are that we're providing as bookkeepers, that we can add more value to it to help the solopreneur and the small business entrepreneur. So if you're interested in RP Business Solutions, we have bookkeeping solutions packages starting at $299. You could click the link in the description, go to rpcapitalsolutionsllc.com/bookkeeping. That's rpcapitalsolutionsllc.com/bookkeeping. Take a look at what we do. On that page, you will see an entire breakdown of how our solutions work and how we can conduct a strategy call. We can onboard you, get your QuickBooks and your bookkeeping system configured, and work with you on a regular basis to make sure that when you do get to the CPA, you're getting there having implemented some of the most creative strategies to make sure that you are making the most out of your financial activity. So I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to help you get to where you need to go in your business.